If you've ever felt like your body is working against you, you're doing many of the right things, yet you're not seeing or feeling the results, then this episode is an important one to connect some of the dots. Today, we're talking about chronic inflammation, not the obvious or acute kind that shows up more like pain, swelling, or illness. This is the quiet, low-grade kind that kind of lingers in the background. The kind that slowly drains your energy, disrupts your metabolism, affects your mood, and makes everything feel harder than it should. This conversation is not about fear or judgment. It's about understanding your body so that you can work with it rather than pushing harder against it. You might be aching all over or noticing that certain joints ache, especially at certain times. Well, that's one area of inflammation, but there's more to consider for the lifestyle that you want to enjoy. This is something I saw again and again during my years as a nurse, and I continue to see that in my health coaching. So I just wanted to give you a little context on it. You might be finding me for the first time. I'm Clarenda Price, a former registered nurse, personal trainer, and now a certified life and weight loss coach. During my years in healthcare, I watched women do their very best to manage the symptoms without realizing what was driving them, the root cause. Now I help women reduce stress, improve sleep, rebalance their hunger hormones, which results in losing weight as well as better lab reports. I help them feel lighter in their minds and bodies using science-based, practical strategies that fit real life. Welcome to episode 153, Chronic Inflammation, What's Really Going On in Your Body? We're talking about why it develops, how it quietly interferes with your health, and what you can do from a health style perspective to reduce it and support your body more effectively. Let's start by clearing something up. Inflammation itself is not bad. Acute inflammation is protective. It's your immune system responding to injury or infection and then resolving once the job is done. Chronic inflammation is different. It's what happens when the immune system stays partially activated for too long. Maybe not enough to cause obvious illness, but enough to interfere with healing, metabolism, and regulation. Think of it like a smoke alarm that keeps chirping. Not enough to cause panic, but enough that's persistent and annoying to get your attention. Enough to wear you down. Now here's where the science matters. Chronic inflammation is tied to the nervous system, hormones, immune signaling, and metabolic health. These systems are constantly communicating with each other. When one stays dysregulated, the others follow. Let's walk through the major contributors with a bit more depth so you can see how this actually plays out in your body. First, low physical activity. Movement is one of the body's primary ways to regulate inflammation. When muscles contract, they release a substance called myokines. These have anti-inflammatory effects and help improve insulin sensitivity. When movement is minimal, blood sugar regulation worsens, circulation slows, and inflammatory markers increase. This isn't about crazy intense workouts. In fact, excessive or poorly recovered exercise can increase inflammation. The sweet spot for most is regular, moderate movement that signals safety and strength to the body. Heavy weights are still great, especially for women 40 plus, but we need to progress to that heavier load. Second factor to look at, chronic stress. This is one of the most underestimated and overlooked drivers of inflammation. When stress becomes ongoing, cortisol and other stress hormones continue to be elevated. Over time, tissues become less responsive to cortisol's regulatory effects. This is sometimes referred to as cortisol resistance. The result? Inflammatory signals increase instead of shutting off. Chronic stress also shifts the nervous system toward a sympathetic protective state. In that state, digestion, repair, immune balance, and fat metabolism are deprioritized. Here's a key point I want you to hear. If your nervous system perceives a threat, your body will not prioritize healing or weight loss. Third, visceral fat, especially around the abdomen. This type of fat is not just stored energy. It is metabolically active tissue that releases inflammatory cytokines. This creates a feedback loop. Stress increases visceral fat storage. Visceral fat increases inflammation. Inflammation worsens insulin resistance and fatigue, which then makes stress and weight loss management harder. This is why shame-based approaches never work. I invite you instead to think of this as physiology and awareness so you can re-choose. It's not failure. Fourth is gut imbalance, also known as dysbiosis. Your gut lining acts as a barrier between the outside world and your bloodstream. When the gut microbiome becomes disrupted, that barrier becomes more permeable. This allows inflammatory compounds to enter circulation, activating immune responses throughout the body. Stress, poor sleep, irregular eating, highly processed foods, and certain medications all affect this balance. When gut health is compromised, inflammation becomes systemic, not local. Fifth, dietary patterns that promote inflammation. This is not about labeling foods as good or bad. It's about what happens when ultra-processed foods dominate the diet. Repeated blood sugar spikes, excess sodium, industrial fats, and low fiber intake increase oxidative stress and inflammatory response. Over time, this leads to insulin resistance, fatigue, and appetite dysregulation. Your body isn't weak, my friend. It's responding to repeated biochemical signals. 6. Sleep disruption and circadian rhythm misalignment. I just love sleep, don't you? It's when the body clears the inflammatory waste. It's when it regulates the immune responses. And it's when it restores hormonal balance, along with other things. Inconsistent sleep timing, late night light exposure, and poor sleep quality disrupt these processes. Even short-term sleep deprivation increases inflammatory markers and decreases insulin sensitivity. This is one reason why energy and weight issues persist even with the best intentions. 7th is toxin exposure. Your liver and detox pathways are efficient, but they're not limitless. Environmental chemicals, personal care products, and household toxins increase that load, the inflammatory load, and thereby place additional demands on the detox systems. This doesn't mean that starting today, you have to overhaul everything. That would be overwhelming. It means awareness matters, and just starting with one thing today can make a difference. I eliminated air fresheners in my home and in my vehicle a few years back, and I'm really glad I did. And now I don't even miss them. And finally, number 8, tobacco and alcohol use. Alcohol, in particular, affects liver function, gut permeability, sleep, and inflammatory signaling. Even moderate but regular use can contribute to chronic low-grade inflammation, especially in midlife. Now, here's an important takeaway. Chronic inflammation resolves through regulation, not pressure. This brings us to your action step. Instead of asking, what should I eliminate or what should I push harder on? I want you to ask this. What would help my body feel better and more supportive this week? Choose one area. Movement, sleep, stress, how and what you're eating, or boundaries. Then decide to support it consistently, not perfectly. This is where having the right support can make change feel more doable. If stress and less than desired quality sleep have been quietly driving how your body feels, then I want to invite you to the Noise Detox. It's a free 8-day online experience designed to help you step out of that mental overload and calm a revved up nervous system. I designed it so it doesn't take long each day. It's simply a gentle, thoughtful prompt to invite more peace and calm into your day, especially if your mind feels like it's always on. And if you're not sure which piece that we've talked about today really matters in this stage of your life, I'd love to chat with you. I offer a free 20-minute complimentary call. It's simply a space to talk about what you're experiencing and decide what kind of support would actually help without pressure. You can find both links in the show notes. Now, I want you to leave with this tough love encouragement. Your body is not broken. It's responding intelligently to its environment. It has been supporting you the best that it can with what you're providing it. And here's the good news. When the environment changes, the body responds. Please don't give up. Your body, your peace of mind, and your future self matter. The people who love you want you here, present, and enjoying life fully for many years to come.